Oh, my hair's so fluffy right now. Oh.
Yes, it is. But ladies and gentlemen, we are live again for game number 2 of CLG Gaming versus TB and Rapid. What does that stand for this game?
This time around, it will be Terry Bradshaw. So looks like we will be seeing one of the greatest football players of all time go up against one of the greatest League of Legends teams of all time in Counter Logic Gaming. So the first game was somewhat anticlimactic. It was just like farm, kill, and then everybody surrenders. So that did go to Counter Logic Gaming. So I would say good job CLG for winning that game, but it was more like the other team just randomly surrendered in the middle of everything. So we'll hopefully see a little bit of a closer game this time around, as already you can see the bands coming out there reacting to the performances of last game.
And the thing is too about it, I thought TB did an excellent job in the early game, the counter jungling, picking up a kill on St. Vicious at level 2, or actually his level 1, their level 2, so very interesting invade there. They put down the ward, did an excellent job of scouting out, really denied those global buffs, stole blue buffs, took Dragon, really put the pressure on, but the bottom lane just went in favor of Double Lift and Chowster. I think that might have been just a little bit too much for TB, as even in team fights, like I said, it was 9 kills to 6 in the previous game, and then they just decided to surrender. It didn't really make too much sense for me. People in the chat were like, oh, well, CLG was just going to snowball because of all the farm that they have, but TB was doing such a great job of gaining map presence and gaining, control of all the buffs and the dragons. They did wind up losing a dragon to CLG, which, CLG never takes dragons, so that's very, very weird for them to take one. But it was just interesting to see an early surrender. Maybe they just didn't like their team comp. Maybe they just don't want Lee Sin up top if they're going to be counterpicked by Aurelia. And to be completely honest, I didn't think Aurelia was that bad of a counterpick, but the way Hotshot played her up top, Lee Sin just literally couldn't do anything to her.
Yeah, it just got to that point where, like I said, you can't really do anything. Let's see if we can go ahead and get a little bit of less noise on my mic. All right, there we go. I think I have fixed things. Apparently it was causing a little bit of an issue on the stream, but thanks to Monty for letting me know about that. So it looks like first pick is Janna, apparently jungling Janna, which will not be the case, but
I want it to be. Jungle, smite and exhaust Janna. She has move speed. She don't need flash.
She just run into lane, drop down that slow and 0 damage, and then you can walk away from her gank even slower.
Listen, that gank's OP. It's almost as overpowered as Jungle Orianna with Dissonance ganks.
Ooh, Dissonance ganks. Too good. Speaking of too good, it looks like the picks will be a Jungle Riven as well as the Double Lift picking up Corki once again. I don't know if it's Jungle Riven. It could always be top lane Riven, but if I know anything about what St. Vicious has been playing 90% of his games as, if eventually he convinced the entire Korean server to keep banning Lee Sin every single game, and so he picked up as his secondary Jungle Riven, which he has been doing ridiculous work with. He definitely goes hard in the paint with Riven, so we're about to see what he has to offer in that regard. Looks like their counter pick for Double Lift's Corki will be an Ezreal. I mean, this is trusting that it's not, a #1 troll AP Ezreal.
Yes, I don't think I would see an AP Ezreal going up against GG in the middle, though. He did so much work at that Ryze. They banned out Ryze. Oh, now we see actually swapping between Mundo and Gangplank. They might want to pick up that Ezreal as the range carry anyway. They're just kind of debating, oh, do I pick it up now? Are we switching around? Because apparently one of their players does not have an awful lot of champions. Like you said, they are using different accounts, etc., etc. So picking up a Mundo, hopefully going to be going in the jungle, not playing Flash and heal. And then Ezreal, hopefully, going to be playing range AD carry and not solo top teleport Flash Ezreal.
Yeah, that would be a little bit interesting to see. I'm not really digging that, but it does look like they will go ahead and pick up the Mundo just so that St. Vicious cannot have that. I guess they were thinking that it was going to be that top lane on Riven. So it looks like Hotshot GG. Let's see, what will he go ahead and pick up for his team? He may not actually pick up the champion he's going to play, but looks like he's going to go for the Sona pick.
Oh, nope, now he's got Skarner, now he's got Rammus. Shishwani, I'd love a Shishwani pick. No, you're not going to give me that satisfaction, Hotshot.
I'm just not going to say anything until he locks in. 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
He is picking a decent amount of the same amount of champions, though, but he is going to look like picking up that Soraka pick. And, oh, it looks like we're going to see GG playing his Twisted Fate. This is going to be exciting.
Man, this guy puts on a clinic as far as Twisted Fate is concerned. It is ridiculously good, and definitely knows how to use it for those ult ganks. And pretty much Twisted Fate's job as espoused, that's what the word is, as espoused by Hotshot, is just keep ulting bottom at all times and just keep pressuring that, slaying bottom, because when you go top, it's not really that effective. Junglers usually have a way to get out of jail for free. So yeah, Twisted Fate, definitely a really, really strong champion, and kind of the flavor of the month as far as pretty much everybody in China and Korea is concerned. Just ridiculously strong over on their server, and already it's becoming a little bit like that StarCraft server issues where each server has their different quirks, the different things that they like to do over there. Looks like the last picks for TB, which is going to be Terry Bradshaw this time around, is going to be an Aurelia pick. They definitely liked what Hotshot did that time. We'll be able to see if they opt to attempt to repeat his AFK farming top. But their AP pick will actually be Ari. A really good pickup, kind of a safe pick, a little bit like Morgana. Definitely has a lot of options against a lot of players, but that will leave the last pick up to either the jungler, if it's not going to be Jungle Riven, or the top lane, depending on what Hotshot wants to play. So it looks like that will be an Olaf. You could see Jungle Olaf, but it does definitely look like it will be Hotshot GG playing his trademark Olaf top lane. And this is going to be really interesting, just because if you thought that Cloak and Dagger was a little bit weird, you're about to see some shenanigans on his Olaf. I've seen him build things like Stingers. I've seen him go Banshee's Veil first. He just builds any item that he randomly clicks on and apparently wins his lane that way. So let's see if he actually goes ahead and stays with Olaf. It looks like that is what he will do, and that will be the team comps for both of the teams. What do you think about this, Optimus?
Ooh, well, when you're talking about the fact that Hotshot's going to be picking up Olaf and building interesting items on him, when you're playing Olaf, who really needs items when all your damage comes through true damage on E? Seriously. That Olaf, if he goes Banshee's Veil first, not a terrible idea, because he's going to be getting health, so he could spam his E. He does need a little bit of damage, especially with the Undertow rework. It's going to be scaling a lot better, but it's only going to be scaling off of additional attack damage that you get through items, not scaling off of his base AD anymore. So I mean, Hotshot going on that Olaf up against Aurelia, they're both going to be able to do a decent amount of true damage. I think that Aurelia might have a little bit of an easier time farming, believe it or not. However, they both have sustain spells too. Olaf's going to be able to activate those Vicious Strikes. Aurelia has her Heaton style. Both are going to be able to really farm up in the lane. I think it's really going to come down to the fact of how good the junglers are. We have Jungle Mundos we've seen in earlier games today. A lot of these champions we've seen throughout the entirety of the tournament thus far. Jungle Mundo in the jungle is going to need a clear path for his cleaver to hit, and knowing that Hotshot GG likes to farm up around a wave of his own minions, he is not going to be very easy to target down with that cleaver. And St. Vicious on Jungle Riven, I've seen Riven played in millions and millions of games, whether it be tournaments, whether it be solo queue, whether it be troll games or all random, all bottoms, it doesn't matter. She is one of those champions that I still consider to be hit or miss. If she gets a great start, she's an amazing character throughout the game, but if they do some sort of invade like they did in game 1 and they pick up a kill on St. Vicious in his jungle pattern, she might not really scale as hard as she can be. But then again, I really haven't seen St. Vicious play Riven as much as you say that he's been playing her. So that's very, very cool, especially since we saw St. Vicious last game on Jungle Udyr get started with a disadvantage, dying in the counter jungle, and then farming up to even surpass Shyvana in levels at the end of the game. So if St. Vicious is going to be the one wielding Riven, I can only say that it's going to be overpowered, and I'm probably going to wind up giving that top lane to CLG because of it.
Yeah, I believe if you go ahead and check out St. Vicious's Korean account, he has 100% win rate on Jungle Riven right now. So, not that he's played that much. He definitely opts for a lot of Udyr and Lee Sin whenever he can pick it and whenever it's not banned. But he's definitely been doing some work with that Riven. I know that CLG's been playing a lot on Korean server as well as the Garena server, and on both of those places, he's just been so well. He's definitely taking this moving to a foreign country, moving into into a gaming house really, really seriously, wants to do as much work as he possibly can. I know Double Lift's been having a little bit of an issue as far as, practicing is concerned. It hasn't been playing that many ranked games. They definitely do have to level up their accounts, get up to that higher elo, and we're going to see that, keep in mind, CLG is playing from Korea. It is about 10 o'clock in the morning for them right now, so they did wake up early, especially Hotshot, who I believe woke up like right before our previous game, but apparently that did not affect his laning. I wish I had that problem. I wish I was just like, okay, I'm totally dead asleep, and then I wake up, log into League of Legends, and play tournaments for tons of money and win my lane.
That doesn't sound like having a problem. That sounds like being a demigod. I wish I had that issue too. But we're going to have to see if he's able to stay awake enough for game number 2, as just going into the loading screen right now. Once again, I want to remind you guys to check out our sponsors over at gaming.stackexchange.com. You can also follow them on Twitter at Stack Gaming. Of course, they're going to be sponsoring us, giving this amazing $5,000 prize pool for the winners of this tournament. However, the teams in this tournament are not the only winners. You guys can sign up on gaming.stackexchange.com and get free video cards and RP this weekend as well. The summoner with the most viewed question and the highest rated answer, tagged as League of Legends by March 28th, will be receiving a video card worth up to $250 in value. That's better than mine and Rapids combined. Questions must be posted on gaming.stackexchange.com in order to enter. Furthermore, if you put the word ggClassic somewhere in your profile and you get at least 2 upvotes during the tournament on a comment or question that you give, you'll be eligible to win a randomly distributed $25 RP card. They have a bunch of those, and they gave a bunch of those out last weekend, and I know a lot of people wound up picking up Lulu because they got free RP from our sponsor.
All right, well, back to the matter at hand. We will see everybody loading into this game. Sexy Nightblade Aurelia. Actually, that's not Nightblade. That's Infiltrator Aurelia. I definitely have that skin, so props to TB Rarity for picking that up. Definite fan here. Actually going for Teleport top lane, which means that Aurelia will be looking for a passive farm lane. Hotshot GG has not opted to go the Silsol build, where you go heal, ignite, and just like derp on everything in your path. And so Riven will be in the jungle on St. Vicious, so we're really I'm gonna pay attention to Riven this game, just because St. Vicious has been doing tons and tons of work. It is Soraka Corki bottom lane. Soraka just makes your engages so effective, and or rather makes any sort of trades bottom lane just not very effective. Wants to push things to late game, so definitely more of a passive, sustaining bottom lane. And already you can see the carry potential from a Riven and an Olaf, both of whom scale into the late game ridiculously well.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like I said, if their Riven and Olaf are going to be piloted properly, which being part of CLG Gaming's team right now, I think they are going to be. They're both going to be forces to be reckoned with. We see Counter Logic Gaming coming out of the top right. They are your purple side, your red side, depends on if you are in colorblind mode like I am or not. And we have the challengers, Team TB, Terry Bradshaw, going to be on the blue side this game. And we can see already Mundo, Ezreal, and Ari motioning to go towards this red buff. And Riven and everyone else from CLG look to be positioning by their blue buff on the opposite side of the river. Just extended a little bit too far, though. Chester on Soraka going to be in the middle. They have this weird lineup where they just kind of look like, against Team Terry Bradshaw, they're lining up at the line of scrimmage for a football game. Look at the position of all the CLG players right now. It's like a straight line.
Right now, I'm just looking at this Hotshot GG kid. He is self-proclaimed bringing the kimchi to us. And then down bottom lane, apparently we have our boy Jay-Z. So apparently that is what Corgi has been bringing us this action. So Hotshot GG wants to know who's going to give first blood. Yes, I got my money on Saint or Aurelia. So we're going to see if Hotshot's predictions do come true. Apparently, yeah, Shellshock is not too impressed at the level of politeness here, but Hotshot GG is just like, hanging out top lane, chilling, and looks like he's not wanting to have anything happen like last game. So both teams are just backing up, playing passively in their own jungles, and should be some sort of a normal start for this game.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really blame TB after going for that jungle invade and then going for the very quick surrender. They probably don't want to chance it and want to play passively and play safe. However, that's the way CLG likes playing games, passively, safe, and just sitting back and farming. Although we do see St. Vicious starting at blue buff, and now normally he is going Broken Wings first on top of that, smiting down the blue buff, and since Riven, she doesn't really use mana, she is going to get the benefit from the cooldown reduction of that blue buff, but very surprised to see her start over there, whereas Mundo opted to start at his red buff, so very interesting choice of what champions are going to be starting at what buffs. We also see St. Vicious picking up a Doran's Blade in the jungle. Like you mentioned, he has been playing Riven a lot on the Korean server. He must be very, very confident in this game right now as he's starting that Doran's Blade versus Mundo, going for a little bit more mobility but survivability, opting for that boots and, well, only one health potion now as he's moving through the jungle. Looks like he might either be going for an early gank down on GG or maybe trying to go up to counter jungle Riven's rates, but I don't know. They don't even have wards down this game, but they have a great timing as to when Riven might be going for these buffs. No, he's actually just going to walk completely around her and maybe get a gank up top on Hotshot. Hotshot, I don't know. You might be bringing the kimchi, but you might be bringing first blood if this Mundo gank goes their way. And here he goes. Aurelia's Rarity's Aurelia is going to be going down. Hotshot's going to have to pop the Ghost. A nice exhaust goes off after the Ghost, though. So that means he's going to be super slow, but the Ghost is still going to persist after the exhaust. Mundo not going to be able to land the correct gank. They do make him pop a summoner spell, so most people would call that a successful gank at low levels, but I think they really wanted to pick up that early kill on Hotshot.
Yeah, they actually traded summoner spells as exhaust was also used there, and so I'm not sure if that's exactly how Dr. Mundo wanted his gank to go, as an excellent ghost troll there by Hotshot, who just like literally ran around in circles to get out of there. The Doran's Blade start on St. Vicious is definitely something that was popularized by Westrise when Riven first came out. Westrise used to play Riven in basically every single lane and dominate them all, and really good job there by sort of just really forming the Riven metagame, and you really see St. Vicious picking up on that. So it's going to be something to watch for. He usually goes double Doran's into, well, he wants to build up to a Bloodthirster, so may pick up the lifesteal, and then eventually, depending on what his role is going to be, he probably will go for some sort of a Phage. So Big Fat LP in mid, if we can go ahead and check out the CS there. It is 24 to Ari's 14, so already almost doubling up the CS mid lane.
Yeah, but this is a tribute to the fact that we saw Family of the Year going and getting an extremely early blue buff from Dr. Mundo out of the jungle. Mundo might be a little bit behind in the farm right now as he is level 3 to Riven's level 4, not even hitting level 4 yet. Probably going to have to go kill these small golems before he does that. So the extra experience that Riven got from killing the blue buff and getting it herself going to play a factor in the overall jungling route. But that means that this middle lane right here, as you mentioned, GD was farming up. Right now, 29 CS to Ari's 18. Still pretty far ahead, but Ari's going to be able to spam those spells, and once she hits that level 6, she's probably going to be able to push back down into Twisted Fate, at least capitalize on his farm a little bit better with just the increased cooldown and mana regeneration from blue buff. Even though the regen got a little bit of a hit, still a good thing to have on a mid character.
Yeah, and now during that that description of the events that were going on, TB Rarity did drop down to about 100 health, did an excellent job of flashing away from that St. Vicious gank, which was ridiculous. Bottom lane is kind of like the bottom lane from the last game, and actually the heal will be enough coming out there from Soraka to keep Double Lift alive, but yeah, definitely looking like the same lane from bottom lane, except that, oh wait, it's kind of reversed, as now it is TB that is doing so much work, while Soraka does appear just because, oh wait, you know, she was walking down from lane and definitely got back into lane just in time to pretty much save Double Lift's life, so I believe he might have made it out of there, but it looks like TB Spike is coming in for a gank here mid lane on Big Fat LP, and looks like Ari doesn't want to give too much away. We'll just try to freeze the wave, but now that there are no minions in mid, it looks like Mundo is just going to back off and opt to go for his raise. Meanwhile, top lane, Rarity is just doing that stop position CSing just because there is nobody else in lane. This is extremely boring to watch, so I'm going to kick it back over to you, so hopefully you can offer some more interesting analysis.
It is an extremely boring measure of the top lane, although it does really give you that kind of advantage you need when freezing the lane. Now I see that Hotshot GG has come back in the lane. Now Rarity and Hotshot going to be exchanging blows. True damage coming out all around. Heat-on Strike gets activated. Looks like it's St. Vicious. He's trying to hide in the trees up there with the little glitch from the artwork as another stun comes out from Rarity on the Hotshot. Health potions galore. St. Vicious, I don't know if he's been spotted yet by TB, it looks like he might have been, though, as Rarity is now playing extremely passive in that top lane, so no gank for St. Vicious, but still just really just ricocheting off of each other. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, we still have now Corki pushing down onto Ezreal. Ezreal is a level ahead of everyone else in the lane, though. I don't know if that's due to mastery or due for people going in and out of the lane and coming and going, whereas Ezreal still only has his boots, has not gone back to buy anything yet, and actually has a little bit of a CS lead ahead of double-list Corki. Now, as you said, this is the same lane we saw TB running from last game, only now CLG is running it, so could this just be some
Ult going top lane. Rarity is going to get stunned there as Big Fat LP jumps back into lane. We will see Rarity get ignited, but will she be able to sustain? No! Actually, Big Fat LP will pick up the kill, as apparently Hotshot GG's axes are not auto-corrected quite enough to pick that up. Family of the Year is just getting harassed down by St. Vicious, which is, you know, a pretty prodigious thing to say, just because he is, you know, melee versus Ahri, who has so many options against that, especially with the charm. It just pretty much kills everything. 100% axe rate from Olaf. Just, you know, Hotshot pointing out that so much lag is really inhibiting his axe CS this time around. Looks like Tina's just running it back into lane, but the ping that just went off was Shellshock, who dropped dangerously low there thanks to massive burst coming out from Double Lift.
Yeah, yes indeed. I was actually taking a look on this bottom here. Shellshock got pretty darn low, but Tina was able to come in, shield him up, and it looked like he's just going to finally go back and recall. He does have a load of money in the bank, has 1,000 on his person right now, but that's because he bought Berserker's Greaves, double Dorans, and health potions, so he's going to be returning to the lane, quite literally the king of the bottom lane right now.
Yeah, and that's really, yeah, it's really interesting just because traditionally you think of Ezreal as one of those squishier bottom lanes, whereas Corki is definitely one of the top tier as far as AD carries are concerned. Top lane, looks like Ignite is being burned onto Rarity. Olaf thinks that he can get the kill, and with the axe, with 200 Korean ping, will pick up the kill there on Irelia. And apparently, you don't need ping, you just need the 2 capital G's at the end of your name to pick up that kill top lane, winning his lane really handily, and now we'll get a juicy farm wave as well. So really good job there by Hotshot, just knowing when to push all of his buttons and go hard in the paint for Irelia, picking up that kill, and will now take massive damage on the turret, or will he just opt to no? Yes, C turret kill minions.
Yes, C turret kill minions. Stick to master plan for Counter Logic Gaming. We win championship because of it. But still, that Olaf doing so much work into Irelia in the top lane. All our predictions in this top lane really, at least for me, have not gone the way I had thought they would be going. So Hotshot, you're really showing me up right now, as I thought, you know, Irelia was going to be giving Lee Sin like a pretty even match, and we saw him really dominate the lane. I said the junglers are going to come into a huge effect for this top lane, but Riven didn't really have a gank. Mundo had that one early gank, and that's about it. And right now, well, Hotshot GG, his lane has the 2 kills.
Big Fat LP ulting bottom, locks the gold card, an instantaneous cleanse from Shellshock. Shellshock will try to get out of the way, opts for the arcane shift into flash escape method, which is pretty all-encompassing. Will get Shellshock out of there alive. Don't think he actually needed the flash, but Double Lift was going hard in the paint after having Valkyrie for that. And actually, his flash was used as well, and now they are pushing back in onto Shellshock and Tina with the minion wave, but we'll have to just back out of there, as there was only 2 minions there. There were only 2 minions there, if I can speak grammatically correctly. Back up the top lane, looks like Spike is going to roll up top there, although he is walking top of a Counter Logic ward, and that's going to make that gank a little bit ineffective.
Yes, indeed, but looks like he's going to be going for some counter jungling, but Hotshot knows what his tricks are up to, missing that 100% hit rate axe. He's going to be trying to deal some damage down onto Mundo right now, but nope, to no avail. Mundo's going to be taking his ultimate and securely getting himself out of there. However, we're going to see in the meantime that this is going to let CLG come down and take a dragon. What is going on? I thought CLG didn't take dragons.
Well, apparently they're opting for a slightly different game plan. Pretty much everything is going backwards, although, you know, they are 2-0 right now, or rather 0-2 if you're looking at it from the perspective of TB Gaming. Bottom lane was initially early aggression, but looks like that was turned around pretty handily, as you already see 1 kill there on the mid lane, 1 kill on the top lane. So right now it's up to bottom lane to continue the trend as far as the kills are concerned. Mundo will roll back into lane after picking up a Heart of Gold, so opting for a little bit more of a defensive gold per 5 jungle rate instead of just going, you know, massive Doran's rings, but or Doran's blades rather. Hotshot GG max level on Reckless Swing. He's just going to keep walking up to Rarity and doing the really dumb thing of just pressing that E button whenever he wants to take down 340 true damage, and there's just nothing that the nerf to Irelia Sustain can do to keep up with that.
No way, man. Too much damage coming out of Burloff in the top lane. I think it's just hilarious. You just sit here, you can watch Olaf just listen and say, bro, every time he hits the E button. And every single time I bet Aurelia just really wants to slap him across the face. But unfortunately, Hotshot's Olaf too strong for that. And you know, she's not going to be able to do that. And just look, this minion wave pushing all the way onto the tower. Aurelia is going to pop this teleport to come back in. She has now picked herself up some Ninja Tabby, though. So you could see that just kind of maybe going in favor of her a little bit more. She has also picked up a Heart of Gold, going for this a little more tanky, and she is not getting the farm that she really needs up top right now. We can see she has 66 to Hotshot GG's 90 right now, so almost 30 behind. Uh-oh, Twisted Fate going to be going for a little bit of a gank on the bottom lane while I'm talking about the top lane. He has the gold card all set up. He wants to teleport somewhere, but look at TB Spike and family here just waiting for him. Oh, they missed the cleaver and the charm. Oh no, that would have been a dead GG, but oh, the patience did not pay off in that one. Oh man. It looks like on the bottom, though, there is an engagement continuing, though. Shell Shock going to be going down on the Chaucer. Janna ultimate is going to knock him out of the way and heal him up. Now come in Ari and Mundo. Shell Shock is going to be finishing up the kill on this Chaucer Soraka. Are they going to tower dive here as a 4 versus 2? But GG has a needlessly large rod. A blasting one. He is dealing massive amounts of ability power deeps. Plus all those rockets from Corki going to be pushing down the minion wave, pushing back TB Gaming, and now, you know, Terry Bradshaw realizes there's no drag in here, so they're not going to be able to go for that. Riven is going to be coming around to check the enemy creep camps, like the Golem, but he's going to see it just gone. Now going to decide to go straight through the top. Aurelia is actually dealing some decent damage on the Hotshot, popping an ultimate. Now she's going to have to sustain herself, try to get out of there. Ignite has gone down. Oh no, she is super, super low, running through enemy territory. This is actually going great for her because Riven wants to go through his territory, I'm sorry, through blue team's territory to try to pick up a kill. However, she's now cornered as GG teleports in, not having to burn that after on the bottom lane. She is, however, going to be executed as all 3 of Twisted Fate's cards miss. So even though Aurelia found herself in a sticky situation, she kind of made the best of it.
Yeah, I definitely thought that she was going to go ahead and give that kill up to either Hotshot or Twisted Fate, but waited just long enough in the bush to suicide to turret. So definitely, like you said, making the best out of a bad situation. Now, bottom lane, go ahead and check out the CS. It is 93 to 100, so really still pretty even as far as that is concerned. The real difficulty is coming up in that top lane as Hotshot is just dominating Aurelia, who is 0-3 right now. If we go ahead and hit the V button to check out the ward coverage, it is pretty even with the definite advantage going to, well, actually pretty much no one except for one extra ward placed by CLG aggressively by the blue buff.
Yes, indeed. We can see already that CLG has the aggressive ward over by the blue buff. They both have a ward up at basically the same part of the top lane. And then, CLG is going to have the bottom lane warded as well. So actually a little bit more ward coverage, whereas TB's opting to ward over by the dragon to see if there are any ganks coming in through over there. But the thing is, every single time this Janna tries to go and place wards in the river, Twisted Fate takes the opportunity to teleport into the bottom lane and try to pick up a kill on Ezreal. So this Janna is, you know, the consequence of this is she's not going to be warding as much, and this is going to leave them very susceptible to ganks from Riven. So, like you said, GG's Twisted Fate a threat in both the fact he's very good at farming and very good at ganking. Speaking of ganking, we see Mundo up top here, trying to get some damage out onto Hotshot GG. He's just going to pop an ultimate. He can't be disabled. He can't be slowed. He can't be stopped, as he's just going to fall back to his mini golems, pick those up, and probably go head back to the lane after sustaining a lot of extra life leech off of those vicious strikes, and then, you know, obviously picking up the big golem, now healing him for a little bit of mana and HP too.
Awesome. Okay, so what we're going to see right now is the blue buff going over to Family of the Year, and that will be, yeah, that's on Ari. Twisted Fate goes back, will pick up his death cap, so already a 15-minute death cap completed on Twisted Fate, so he is actually at 238 ability power right now. Those pick a card will actually deal 100 plus 65 plus 95, which is a lot of math I can't do on the fly, but tons of damage.
Yes, that's the mathematical term. Tons of damage going to be coming out of that Twisted Fate whenever he picks a card and throws at one of those champions. We still see on the bottom lane, though, Shell Shock and Tina laying a decent amount of damage and harass onto Double Lift and Chaucer, as they're actually Chaucer's forced to go back. Double Lift is going to stick around. We saw, you know, Ari and Mundo kind of coming down the middle lane as well. I don't know if they passed by that ward that CLG has in the middle, but now Ari going back to the middle lane, sees that Riven and Twisted Fate are both there. Riven's going to pop in, gets a little bit of damage down on Family of the Year, but she's going to be able to sustain herself with that Hextech Revolver, and the passive from Ari every 8 spells going to be dealing 35 increased % spell vamp on the next spell that she casts. And now, Double Lift kind of playing extremely passive, trying to fire rockets out, baiting this Ezreal into what is a 4-man gank now as Soraka's coming down. Twisted Fate teleports in. Riven's going to come in as well, popping the flash, but Ezreal with the flash and the arcane shift combo, just too much to get out of there. And the 4 people from CLG not enough to take down Shell Shocked is, I don't think, he hasn't died yet this game. Even Janna popping a flash to stay out of there, so very much the opposite on the bottom lane for TB, whereas the top lane, a little bit of a sad story as Hotshot is just really abusing this rally, even picking up another kill while we were talking about bottom lane, and I'm just completely distracted by CLG taking dragons.
Yeah, I don't actually know what's up there. I mean, they are going to take the opportunity to take the dragons when they're just, sitting out there. I mean, they're not going to pass up 190 extra global golds. So Hotshot just waits until all of his spells are up, and then, like I said, face rolls. He went ahead, popped the ghost, popped his ultimate, and then just ran up and did 3 true damages in a row to Aurelia, who just had no other options. Like, he was under turret, it did not matter. He just did everything that he possibly could and picked up that kill. So that will be 1-3, and that top lane is right now 0-4, which doesn't quite add up, but she did suicide to turret, so that is 1 extra death that is not reflected in the score right now.
So it is 3-1 in favor of CLG. They are ahead by about 4,000 gold. Tower count is about even. Mundo's going to be coming in for a gank, though, as my dog decides to act up because it is so exciting as they're going to be diving down on the GG. Ari's going to be picking up that kill. Yes, indeed, dog. That was a perfect time to get rowdy because that was an excellent dive and exactly what TB needs to really scale back into this game a little bit.
Yeah, Phosphorus Bomb will reveal TB Spike running back into his own jungle, and right now, Rarity pretty much can't stay in lane that long. I mean, he's going to be able to farm a little bit, but as soon as Olaf decides to do absolutely anything that he wants, it's just not going to go very well for Aurelia. We already saw, yeah, look at that, just true damage, so effective. Hotshot apparently cannot hit any one of his axes, as that 200 ping is a little bit effective at stopping all of his skill shots, but I don't really think that matters when you're winning your lane and your opponent is 0-4.
Either way, Hotshot's going to say he has 100% skill shot rate with those axes, so best axes this side of South Korea.
Look at that sustain coming out there. TB Rarity actually already back up to about the same HP as Olaf, well, at least as far as percentage is concerned, but as far as actual health, we are going to see 2200. Actually, Olaf is looking for a dive. There's so much damage. Bottom lane going on to Shellshock, who will actually go down there. The Ghost, or the Flash Cleanse Ezreal, apparently not good enough, as both of his summoners were down there. He will not be able to get out of that situation, and so that will be 1 more kill picked up on the bottom lane for Double Lift.
That unkillable Ezreal finally did fall in the midst of both the summoners being down. 19 minutes in on your first death. Not terrible when you're playing against a team like CLG. However, now we see that Olaf is going to just fall down onto this turret. He's going to be dealing all the damage he can against Mundo. Mundo even pops his ultimate, but it's not really enough to sustain in fight against Olaf. And Olaf just super strong out of that top lane. True damage being too much damage for either Mundo or Aurelia, as they haven't really even been able to pop a successful gank off against Hotshot. He is 2-0-1 out of that top lane. He has 168 farm. To Aurelia has 112. That lane is his for the taking, as he is taking down the first turret. Even just pushing down onto the opponent's side of the map right now, they really can't even do anything, as we see 2 people on the bottom lane, 2 people around mid lane as Mundo's taking his wraiths, and they're not even really motioning to help out Rarity up top, because I don't think they can catch Olaf, especially with Ghost. He's going to pop that and run away all the way back to his side of the map from where he is right now.
All right, so if we go ahead and take a little bit of a step backwards to look at a little bit of what has been going on in the game.
There's a bottom lane, actually, as they just decide to jump on the Tina out of nowhere while she's running in a bush, and they end up picking up a kill. GG now teleporting next to the tower just to secure the kill, with Double Lift now picking up 2 kills. That Corki's just going to be getting a lot of items, a lot of farm, a lot of fed, as it's now almost a 6,000 gold advantage, almost 7,000. As it's 6 kills to 2, and they are going to be taking down a second turret. So CLG, they did kind of the same exact thing last game, where they went with this kind of composition. It was all about farming. Once they hit a certain part of farming,
look at Hotshot. He's just in there. He goes ahead and is just standing around with Ari. Pops his ult. Will he be able to get out of here alive? It looks like he just could actually hit 1 axe. Will it be enough to get out of there? I don't think TV has his Blade Surge out, and actually Hotshot is fighting with 0 HP, I guess, and almost full health. Aurelia, will he actually go down there? Yes, that ult will pick up the kill, but St. Vicious misses his stun and will not be able to pick up the counter kill on Rarity. I'm not sure why Hotshot turned around and started fighting there. He definitely could have gotten out of there alive, but apparently thought that his his Olaf was a little bit stronger than it actually was. Now, Cleaver will hit double lift in the jungle, but he's just going to go ahead and back on out of there. So, you know, a little bit of something going right as Rarity will pick up his first kill of the game and also allow himself to free farm at that top lane for a couple waves. He is a 126 farm versus the 163 mid lane. Looks like Twisted Fate is going to go in there along with double lift, forcing the flash out of there from Tina, who is playing as the support. Saint Vicious is there as well, along with Big Fat LP, but I don't think anything's going to happen as they're just going to back off and let the wave push a little bit more.
And CLG did this last game too. We saw them just hit this point of farm and they're just like, all right, we're just going to start taking turrets. They systematically took top turret, and we saw Hotshot take that. Pushed down to the bottom turret. They took that one. Actually took both bottom turrets because they're just left to their own devices to do that. While everybody from TB was kind of like running around, we saw Mundo on the bottom lane trying to deal with those champions on bottom. Riven and Olaf kind of came over to deal with this Aurelia. Aurelia wanted to find the picking up a kill onto Hotshot GG's Olaf, and he just kind of turned around at that point because Olaf gets ridiculous attack speed when he gets really, really low in HP. And when he turned around to fight Aurelia, he basically had no HP because he was healing and taking damage at the same rate he was healing because of how fast he was attacking. But the Aurelia ultimate really turned the tides in favor of Aurelia, and she wanted to pick up a kill because of that. But CLG just doing what they did last game, you know, systematically farming up, hitting this point where they think they could take towers, and then just, you know, thinking becomes doing, and they take down every single tower that they can. And now Hotshot GG on bottom with double lift. We see up here Riven, St. Vicious still just kind of farming around in the jungle. We haven't even really seen that many ganks out of Riven besides one or two on the bottom lane, but she has 147 farm to Mundo's 114. She has more farm than almost everybody on TB's side right now besides Ezreal and Ahri. So doing an excellent job in that jungle, just really moving around and just farming up to a point where this Riven is going to get ridiculous with a frozen mallet out in the jungle and triple Dorans already.
Shellshock is in a little bit of trouble. He's going to get jumped in here by Doublelift. Will have to dodge the big one, but no, an excellent ult from Doublelift will pick up the kill, but it actually looks like Tina could be in a little bit of trouble as well, as I don't believe there's any way that, yeah, they cannot get to her, and especially just because, oh wait, she's Janet, has so many abilities that just keep people from sticking to her. A little bit like a Lulu in that regard, but it does look like this will be a Baron attempt by CLG. They have not been able to end the game fast enough to where they have to go ahead, pick up this Baron. Well, they don't have to, but definitely a good choice. They will actually turn onto Spike and Rarity, who just by showing up have stopped CLG from picking up that dragon, or the Baron rather. Looks like Big Fat LP will get stuck there, but actually Family of the Year is going around there, standing on top of a ward, and will look to get an awesome charm just to keep them from getting engaged on. Looks like Rarity is actually going to go in there along with Spike. Are they going to go in here for the fight? Yes, they will. Hotshot getting dropped down to about 1,000 HP, but Tina is going to be the first casualty aboard here. St. Vicious and Hotshot are down ridiculously low, but just have enough health to catch out Family of the Year, who apparently got stuck into a wall there. That was pretty awesome, ulting straight into that wall, and apparently that was not very effective, as now CLG, with 5 members strong, will be going for this Baron.
We see shell shots on Ezreal trying to steal it with a very nice place Q, but not dealing enough damage to pick up the steal on Baron. CLG is going to have the global Baron buff. It is currently a 4 for none in favor of them. Even GG popping an ultimate to stun Rarity, and a giant rocket coming out of Corki is going to pick up the finishing blow. 13-3 now. As we said, it wasn't that far away in kill advantage, but now CLG just very well placed pushes, very well timed Baron buff, falling off the Baron to engage in team fights. Very, very smart of them, and they are going to be just all of a sudden 13-3, taking 43k to 29.3k gold advantage, pushing down every single tower except for the second top tower and the inhibitor ones. So this game is really starting to spiral into their favor. They had the Baron buff, so now TB really has to play defensive. We saw TB do a surrender vote at a point where we thought, you know, okay, if they're just able to defend and really farm up, they'll be able to come back A-okay. We haven't seen that come out of them yet in this game. They really want to stick it out and try to force a game 3, if not for the fact that they know they can take on CLG for the fact that they have a third name for us to be really embarrassed about talking about. But either way, they're going to be sticking it out in this game. You know, CLG is going to be doing the smart thing, though. They're going to be Doublelift on the bottom, though. He's going to hide in this bush. They're going to think that he's recalled, though. He's going to pop out as soon as Olaf comes down the bottom lane now, dealing lots of damage out in the family of the year. Janna ultimate is going to displace them. Now they are going down on Mundo. Ari is not moving right now. There she goes. She's going to try to get in this fight. Mundo tanking so much damage, but he's still going to follow the true damage combination of Corki and Olaf. Riven is not coming in from the top jungle. They're going to melt down Janna. Ari is only going to be the third casualty of what this fight has become after a fake recall by Doublelift in the bush just kind of turned into a 3-for-none from CLG, now taking a 16-3 kill advantage in this game. And I don't know, Rapid, what do you think that TB is going to have to do if they want to really hang into this game right now?
Well, I believe that they're going to have to not get caught out like that. I mean, if you go ahead and, you know, just look at what happened there, they were just like, hey, you know, it's Doublelift. He's just kind of, you know, sitting bottom lane. Isn't that sweet? We can go and have a little bit of a tea party, which didn't exactly work out, as that was the tea party of death and doom and demise, which is about what is going to happen to Shellshock. The ult will go out there from Big Fat LPs, who will be able to teleport away should things not go in his favor. But look at that massive damage. He is sitting at 463 AP, and then opts to just ult even farther back behind his turret. So a really good ult there, lasting just long enough to get out of there and prevent any sort of a kill being picked up there. Going hard in the paint is Hotshot, GG, St. Vicious, and Chowster bottom lane. They made Spike run all the way back to the, to the base, basically, the spawning pool if you're a Dota fan. But Hotshot is going to jump in here onto Spike. The Shirley is popped. St. Vicious is going to flash in there. Will get off the stun, but no, will not be able to pick up the kill on TB Spike. But Family of the Year dropping dangerously low, and actually Hotshot will get busted into the summoning platform. Will get dropped down to 1,000 true damage per second. St. Vicious dropping onto Family of the Year will go down as well, as apparently he is not capable of 1v5ing quite yet. And that is actually going to be 2 players for CLG down. And so making the big plays right there. And I don't know, if you asked me what TB needed to come back from their deficit, and right now they're looking to pick up Chowster. It actually looks like Big Fat LP will be running in here for the save. And actually, Tina will almost go down. Tina will go down. Actually, right now it is Shellshock versus Big Fat LP. And actually, Fat LP, look at that magic damage. Oh my goodness. Big Fat LP makes it out with 85 health. Actually, less than that. That's what he regen to. And oh my goodness, that was absolutely ridiculous. That burst damage, I've never seen so much red in a health bar before.
That was so ridiculous. How much AP does GG have? 506. That Lich Bane proc dealing so much damage right now. It is quite literally insane. But like you said, if I said, okay, what does TB need, and you told me they need Janna to push people into the fountain, I would have thought you were trolling me. But that's exactly what happened. Is now, even though GG's dealing burst damage, they've lost inhibitor on bottom lane. They're picking up this dragon. You know, the gold count is not going to be easy to close at this point, but they have picked up a couple kills. They've ended killing sprees on certain champions and given it to the champions that really do need the extra bonus gold. So they could still have a chance of coming back into this one. However, Hotshot's Olaf is extremely farmed right now, has a Frozen Mallet, and Aegis of the Legion to help out his team, and looking to be picking up an Atlas Impaler relatively soon. That Riven going for an Atlas on top of Frozen Mallet. GG with a giant burst AP damage. Look at Shellshock. He's the AD carry on their team with so many items, trying to poke down on this Olaf. Olaf just thinks it's a little bit of a fly, but they are going to have to get out of here as 5 members of TB Gaming are stronger than 3 of CLG. But is it going to be enough? Now St. Vicious is going to fall first in this team fight, but everyone on TB is very low. Terry Bracha has to get out of there. Doublelift is going to be going in. A teleport comes in from GG, but excellent ultimate from John is going to knock them out of position. Unfortunately, they're going to get the inhibitor. They are going to get the kill on Ari. Is a 4 versus 4 right now. TB does have the benefit of their being pushed back to their own base, so they still have a fountain to go back and heal up in. They're going to be returning to the fight pretty fresh, whereas the members of CLG are at least half health or lower. Looks like they're going to be focusing down on Chowster Frost. I don't know if it's a good idea, as Hotshot is going to turn down in Rarity, getting a kill picked picked up on her, and now all of a sudden there's a 4 versus 3 in the base of TB. They're falling on the Nexus turrets. Look at how low Hotshot is, but still, Ezreal gets a kill on Hotshot, but he is going to be melted down by Corki. Really good focus by Ezreal picking up that kill, but I don't think it's going to be enough for them. I don't think they're going to wind up saving this game. Chalister actually takes down Mundo in a team fight. Corki's Gatling gun, double lip, dealing so much damage at this point with that Trinity Force and Infinity Edge. He has Quicksilver Sash saving him earlier in the fights as well. He's going to activate a Gatling gun on Janna in the fountain. They decide that it's time to dive the fountain once again because Big Fat LP, GG is going to be going down on the turret with those Lich Bane procs, and I've been waiting to say this, but CLG and Hotshot take game 2 of the tournament.
And that is GG indeed. And both GGs actually pretty much just 2v5ing there. Hotshot and Big Fat LP just doing so much damage. That Lich Bane from Big Fat GG was just ridiculous there towards the end of the game. So congratulations to both teams, but mostly to CLG for going 2-0 versus TB Gaming. And they will be moving on to the round of 8. That game will be cast tomorrow, so make sure to stick around for that. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and thanks for watching. Thanks to CLG for waking up extra super early and all the way from over in Korea, doing some work and picking up the victory in this game.
Yes, it was a very awesome series of events to cast. It was amazing casting with you once again.